constitutional republic is distinct from a democracy. While the ideal of democracy is universal equality, the ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. Democracies often risk degenerating into authoritarianism, where promises of government guaranteed equality and security result in oppression and poverty. India, like the United States, was established as a constitutional republic to protect individual liberties against the tyranny of unchecked majority rule. In recent decades, efforts have been made to blur the distinction between a constitutional republic and a democracy in India. A common tactic is the manipulation of language, referring to India as a democracy without emphasizing its constitutional safeguards. This leads to misunderstandings about the nature of the Indian system of governance. For example, debates over centralizing power in the executive often reflect a desire to prioritize uniform equality over individual liberty, a shift that risks eroding fundamental freedoms. The framers of the Indian Constitution understood these dangers. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and other drafters were deeply aware of the risks posed by pure democracy. They designed India's constitution to limit the powers of the majority and ensure that fundamental rights would not be subject to popular whims. They built a system of checks and balances to protect minority rights, preserve individual freedoms, and uphold the rule of law. This system reflects principles similar to those of the American Constitution. Like the US, India guarantees equality before the law, but it does not mandate material or societal equality. The framers recognized that enforced equality through excessive state intervention could lead to authoritarianism, as has been seen in various regimes worldwide. Leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru also emphasized the need for a strong constitutional framework to prevent the excesses of direct democracy. They understood that majority rule could devolve into mob rule if left unchecked. For instance, the reservation system in India was designed not as a populist measure, but as a constitutional mechanism to correct historical injustices while balancing individual liberty with social equity. The challenges India faces today echo those faced by other constitutional republics. The rising concentration of power in the executive, coupled with populist rhetoric, threatens the balance envisioned by the framers. Policies framed in the name of equality must be examined through the lens of liberty and constitutional safeguards. As Thomas Jefferson argued, government power must be restrained by constitutional principles to safeguard liberty. In the Indian context, this means ensuring that the Constitution remains the supreme law of the land, protecting both individual rights and social justice. The preamble's promise of liberty, equality, and fraternity must be understood in the constitutional framework, not as a license for populist excesses. Dr. Ambedkar famously warned against the dangers of losing the constitutional morality necessary to sustain a republic. He cautioned that India's democracy could devolve into tyranny if constitutional principles were not upheld. As in Franklin's words, India's constitutional republic will survive only if you can keep it. To preserve this system, Indians must resist the lure of unrestrained majoritarianism and educate themselves about the values enshrined in the Constitution. This involves not only protecting individual liberties but also strengthening institutions that act as checks on arbitrary power. Civic education and public awareness are crucial to ensuring that India remains a constitutional republic, where liberty and justice are paramount. The road ahead requires vigilance. Only through collective effort and a commitment to constitutional principles can India uphold its identity as a republic. The choice between liberty and populist authoritarianism will determine the nation's future. The responsibility lies with every citizen to protect and cherish the republic that was so carefully crafted by its founders